can you move that Montserrat back, please?
Montserrat back.
Right. Yeah.
Back where?
Yeah. Back towards Kaua'i.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
No, yeah, exactly. I like you move around. You know what I mean? We get active in these chairs.
Okay.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got 'em.
Check.
Yeah, we get some killer additions, bro. Chucky Boy. You get some
we
plants.
bought some plants.
Yeah. We just gotta get some native plants. We got one. Oh, here. We just got one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's giving.
It's not here. I just bring them home. Water them.
Okay.
Too
Right
much
on.
shocked.
Okay.
Yeah, we like. Oh, we need to put stuff on the walls.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
need to
see
get
the
more
tea
stuff.
leaf.
To bring some
Nice,
life.
nice.
To bring some life into here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, make the background look good when we post it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah. We cherry. We cruising for bruising. You guys all good? Can hear me?
We're all
Cherry?
good. I can hear good. You can hear me. Testing. Checking one. We're good.
Everybody, mahalos for tuning in to another episode of How's This Podcast, presented by Texaco. Hey, we just want to mahalo you guys for tuning in, and we have our favorite brother once a month. You know the drill already.
Yeah.
Chucky Boy Chock, director of Kaua'i Museum. Chucky Boy, how's it going, brother?
Oh, I'm so good. Thank you for the privilege of being here.
Of course.
Oh, thank you. We're always stoked when you come in. Your good kind of stories.
Hey,
I love it.
no, yeah. These ears, they
perk
tingle.
up,
They tingle. Turn into an elf when you come around.
Well, I think it's people like you that make it fun to share stories.
Oh, good. No, because we love to hear them. So keep it going.
Yeah.
So what's going on? Since the last time we met.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. It's been busy.
Yeah. And it feels way longer than what it is.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I guess the biggest thing was we went to Oahu and there's the American Idol brother. He won and ended up winning.
Hey.
Right, yo.
Killing it. And so we were lucky because we got to be a part of the team and a bunch of people who ended up putting it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was him,
Common Kings. Kavika Kayapo.
Hi, Kaneohe.
Bruh.
He was my lead guitarist years ago.
See, that's so sick, though. Because,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Just learning about the guys that you've worked with or even grew up with and stuff like that.
In 1980, he was my lead guitarist.
Oh,
Couple
that's
years. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, then brother Jack Johnson.
Brother
all
Jack.
those guys. So
First time I seen him perform live, too.
yeah, I mean it was cool. Like everybody, and then also too, it was interesting because the timing of it was like terrible. Like you,
Oh, no, the worst.
the worst. I
Yeah.
mean, from the front end, you would never tell. But like they had a parade, and for the high school, because basically the brother man had graduate that day, and they did like a parade, like kind of that, and that thing just I think took way too long. So they're like an hour late, so it messed up the whole play times. But so all these guys ended up just kind of playing together, and like playing their own songs.
John Cruz.
medleys. Yeah, John Cruz, Palafunga, like all these people, where they usually would just play by themselves and play their set. And this time it was super interesting. I don't think we would ever like see it like that again, where they all just like
Impromptu.
Yeah.
make it happen, sing each other's songs. You know, where you're like, okay, like the biggest like medley.
Oh,
kind
that's
of thing.
behind that's behind stories. That's the back
No,
stories.
so it was super cool because I was like, oh dang, this is kind of special. You know, you're not gonna like as a public person, you won't have the ability to hear this all the time.
Oh yeah, it's a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was cool. So
Me and the co-host sit on stage trying for stall for like what, half hour? Hoy. You don't even say yeah. You don't even say yeah.
oh no, they were digging.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Because the coordinator, he's in Killa, but even when they came, there was a little bit of like a hang up or so. I mean, at one point, I think someone was putting a fire extinguisher to one of the vans. Like I think something caught on fire as we were going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You had all of this.
like the audience never knew, but like in the back, you just saw like people running around trying to figure out like gotta stall. We need this much more time. Like there's all these things going on, and it ended up being super great. But because of that, you'd have this like super unique performance.
Did you guys get to meet all of the musicians? No.
Slightly, it was busy.
It was too chaotic.
It was chaotic. Everybody's running around trying to like make it happen. Because only had 1 week to put together. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
1 week to put together, and it ended up being like 10,000 people.
Sure.
So it was just like this big old event. So there's tons of, and it was weird too because we were in charge of some spots, but we didn't even know the other guys who were in charge of the other spots. You know, like the production guys were all these guys, and we were just on this side. So then we were like,
Yeah.
so it was kind of a weird thing that you're like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna work. Like even the week before, you're like, whoa, what's gonna happen? We went to Oahu, like literally, like, oh, I hope people come. Like,
Did you have a chance to interview Ian?
No.
no, he was locked down.
Shoulder to
Yeah.
shoulder with American Idol producers.
Yeah, so the American Idol
kinda
guys had him like
locked down.
super locked
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
He had
Understandable.
like 5 big security guards around him.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it was cool because hearing like Jack them talk story on the microphone is I didn't know he was from
Kahuku.
Kahuku. Yeah, I
Yep.
never know.
Yep. He lives on the north, born and raised.
Yeah.
It's amazing that
Yeah.
it is.
But I mean, and also he's just like the most cool guy. Like,
Yeah,
you know how like if you were that, like a lot of musicians, they get super up there. Like
Yeah.
if things go wrong, they get kind of salty. Huh?
Yeah. Can I say something about him?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
What you saw is the real Jack. He's 24/7. He's one way all the way on stage, surfing with his family. He's consistently the same guy. He's just a real deal. He's a neat guy. I had a chance to do a project with him,
Mhm.
and it was for the Polynesian Voyaging Society. It was for the Hokulea, the Malama Honua, the first leg of the world tour. And now they're on the second leg, right? The Moana Nui Akea. But the Voyaging Society, in fact, there was a discussion that prior to Jack Johnson being a part of this, there was a discussion with Nainoa Thompson, who came over to Kaua'i Museum to talk story. And it was a neat way, kickoff to Kauai's kokua, or help, to the Voyaging Society, because they're a nonprofit. And so made a decision to have Nainoa come and talk story, and sold tickets, someone as high as $1,000 a seat.
Oh,
And it 100% to the Voyaging Society, 100%.
Nice.
And I think we sold it out. We just had 150 seats,
Mhm.
but it was sold out like in half an hour. And,
Wow.
oh yeah, people were cramming and screaming at me, "Well, we won tickets," but it's like too late.
max.
Sorry.
Yeah, max
Maxed
already.
out. You know, we had corporate sponsors that, took a bunch of tickets first, and they just were big checks. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it was a great cause. And after that evening, then Nainoa says, Chucky, why don't you invite some friends and we'll go sail on the Hokulea from the docks, and and we go to Diamond Head. Just go outside of Waikiki, and for your friends to experience. I'm like, well, how many people? He said about 18. So we made calls, and Jack Johnson was one. And he brought his son with him because his wife had to watch the kids. So, but there was the start of a wonderful partnership with Jack and his foundation and Polynesian Voyaging Society. And it's the first time everybody met, and it was the Hokulea that brought people together. And so we brought neat people from Kauai, even Papa Tom Takahashi, who was like the senior kupuna, who would share pule, who would share prayers, blessings for the journey. But Papa Tom was actually really amazing. There's a backstory to that, and Nainoa. Interesting story.
Okay.
But getting back to Jack, what you saw on stage, he is beautiful. He's so real. He's so down to earth. I mean, he's Mr. Slippers. I mean,
Yeah.
if he would go barefooted, he would, But all he likes to do is surf and play music. But he has the honeydew list too, also, because he has a family.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but but it was a great experience because while on the Hokulea, when we went out to do that special cruise, we just started singing. And coming back, he goes, Chucky, why don't we do something?
Wow.
So I literally wrote a song and recorded it, and all proceeds went to the Voyaging Society.
What?
And then we recorded a song. It's called Naho Okele Opi Opio.
Wow.
And I did the Hawaiian, and he did the translations. He sang the translations.
So sick.
It was sick. It was like it worked, and we collaborated on that. And at the end, he says, we need a female voice. But he was totally correct because the Voyaging Society is about the kane and the wahine. It really a good balance. And one of the leading navigators now is Lehua Kamalu from the west side, from Kekaha.
Okay.
She's one of the leaders. And so we did it. We went in the studio, and when he brought Paula Funga to do the female voice, it's like, oh, wow, that was the perfect fit. It just... And he favors her, and for reason. I mean, it's for great reasons. She's just the neatest person in the studio. Just down home. Just,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hawaiian Samoan girl, and just wonderful, wonderful person to be around. Good fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we did the song, and boom! It raised a lot of money. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It killed.
Right away, instantly. And the idea was for the corporations to pick up on it, to purchase the thing and give their employees, like HMSA, like who else? Hawaiian Airlines. Several corporations purchased the song itself in the hundreds.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then gave their employees. I thought that was a beautiful thing. And we introduced the song at a live performance down where the Hokulea is docked, down at Sand Island. And the other place that we introduced the song was in New York. And I forgot the name of the building. You got to help me.
The United Nations?
I was in, get on the stage, get off the stage, get out. It was that quick.
New York is a whole different world.
Oh,
for sure.
Not my kind of place. It's just like, wow. It's crazy.
You performed at United Nations?
Yeah, we actually did a concert in the United Nations.
Oh, imagine those skank moves. Yeah, all the nations coming together. It was all kind of different movements.
The Chinese guys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cherokee.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a really good experience, but it was also wonderful to get the word out beyond Hawaii. I think it was an instant no-brainer as far as where it was going to go with Jack Johnson and his company and his people and his followers, his fans and stuff. It was just a wonderful thing. It was a great experience. And we also invited Brother Nolan, to come, and it made sense. His Big Ship song is just
oh my gosh.
Wonderful. So we decided for that trip, we whipped up and did a song to honor both canoes that go, the Hikianalia also, not only the Hokulea.
Oh.
And so we did a duet too. We just wrote it, collaborated, and recorded it, and boom.
What's that one called?
Hokulea, Hikianalia. Simple. Just
Okay.
Hokulea, Hikianalia. And so it's a fun, cool. You can feel the vibe of Brother Nolan. It's really
nice.
cool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, someday you guys go find it. But all the proceeds again goes to Hokulea, or the Voyaging Society.
Oh yeah, we'll find it.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
So, but since you were on that EM thing, I think it made sense to really talk about the backstory to Jack Johnson. What
Well, it's so awesome because
just a good guy.
Yeah.
like you go there and he's like a normal guy, but legitimately in New York, he's like a huge guy. Like in the mainland, like you go and he's like, oh, Jack Johnson, like all the mainland guys like love him, like from
all over the world.
yeah, you know, because like he kind of came out with his first CD, and I feel like I heard it a long time before it blew up in the mainland.
Ah,
And then it blew up in the mainland.
was it like Banana Pancakes?
Before that.
Before that, oh yeah.
Before that.
That's what I heard was Banana Pancakes.
The first one, like, what is it? Like Bubble Toes. Like, I remember because it was like on all the surf videos.
Ah,
So that's when
yeah.
I first heard it. And then later out, it kind of came out mainstream. And then it like blew up where you're like, oh, and this is like before like YouTube and that kind of stuff. So like, it was weird. Music used to come out sometimes, and then it wouldn't hit till like later. Like sometimes the guys would release it,
of course.
and it would be out, and some like small subgroup would hear about it.
Sure.
Because there's no way to like find music other than like from other people.
I was just gonna ask, how would it blow up? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
that's
just radio play out.
see, that's
So
crazy.
you need to get on the radio. That was the main thing.
That's right. And sometimes, you know, you're right though. Sometimes songs become a hit like years later.
Yeah.
I mean, like even Izzy when he did "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," right? That is a song from like 1,000 years ago. Our grandpa's fans, I mean,
Yeah.
friends. But same. What you're saying is exactly correct. Sometimes songs are in the back burner, and later people play it. A radio sale, just a small radio station, and all of a sudden, wow, is that a new one? No, that's another one that.
It's one of my first ones.
Right. You know, like he originals is if you're a musician out there, just write.
Yeah.
Just write new music, boy. All you need is one song. I mean, you don't want to be a one-hit wonder, right? But you wanna you wanna make your place, make your mark.
Yeah.
You know, in the industry, it's so beautiful to write stories of today for tomorrow's kids and stuff. And I always encourage that personally. And Jack Johnson, he's just an anointed writer, but it's him. It's just him penning his everyday life, you know, and how important his family is. Yeah. And in fact, if you listen to some of his earlier stuff on surf videos, it was all reggae.
Yep. And the thing with all this stuff is like just kind of super like fun, yeah.
Oh,
Like super lighthearted fun.
lighthearted.
Yeah. Like not like
Real.
ultra serious.
Oh, not at all.
Or also not like ultra dramatic, you know.
Yeah, it's just real.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody can relate to that song in his songs.
100%.
Yeah, good guy. Good
Yeah,
guy.
I was stoked on that. I love that when you meet somebody and they're just like kind of cool.
Yeah.
There's so many times when you meet like famous people and they're like, oh, I wouldn't really want to be around them.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. He's the real deal. I can't say enough about this aloha spirit in him, this Hawaiianness that he has. I think being born and raised in, you know, the North Shore, that's just comes with the territory, right?
It was
That
mean.
simpleness of him.
It was unreal to be there and see the community come together like that. You know.
I love that.
No, 100%. I mean, for us, like it was super. We talk about it in a podcast we just put out, but it's just like super refreshing. You know, like nowadays it's so much like negative stuff. It's nice to have that like thing where it was almost like old school where like the community came together. Like even just the people coming.
Yeah.
And it was like fun. There wasn't like drama. Like everybody was super nice, respectful. Like, I mean, there's tons of people there. There's tons of stuff happening. Lines are long, blah, blah, blah.
Kids
But-
running around.
But people are just stoked, like super happy.
I believe when I think it's a local thing. It's a Hawaii thing where it's rare that someone really makes it like he did. Of course, he was the first, right, to win that.
Yeah.
But the show of support is really real,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, 100%.
and the locals are there. They'll behave.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the norm. But if you had a rock group or whatever
Yeah.
that comes in, then you have a mixture
Yeah.
of an audience, and then it can get kind of crazy, especially that one because it was wall to wall with people, right?
Yeah. And then we were talking about that. We are like, this is like super unique because of that. Like people are coming there like for music, but also just to support, right? Versus just to like go to a normal concert.
Right.
They were there for like community support, but also the music, but also like to kind of show off Hawaii in a little bit of a ways too, you know. So it was really like a whole different situation. Like, and like I said, even then the talent could have got super mad. Like if that was a normal concert,
Yeah.
Right.
they would have been not cool with it.
Right.
But because of what it was, they like band together and they're like, it's more important than, you know, my set, my thing, you know. And then that kid is good, man. Like one thing that's interesting is like you listen to him in like real life, like his stuff is like strong, like it's powerful. His voice, you're like, oh, this kid is kind of
This is
like,
the second coming of Izzy. I mean, just the voice, right?
Is like
No,
you trip out because like for sure you hear it on TV and it's good.
Yeah,
But when you
yeah.
hear it in real life, you're like, whoa,
Right.
this is like.
I think his father said the same thing, right? Something about I can't quote the father, but it's something like you have to sing for the people. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
The father said so. The father was a big push behind his music.
Yeah.
I know that, and a lot has to do with honoring his dad, but at the same time, obviously his parents really created this beautiful foundation for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's extremely respectful. I think that's where he wanted. And his voice just put it over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him being himself, that true Hawaii local boy self, just kind of, it just was shining through. You know, just
100%. Yeah.
So, I mean, he won that first day.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I mean, that was the thing is like, to me, not to say that other people weren't like genuine, but he was like not rehearsed, you know, like his stuff was just like whatever came out, and that's what it was, you know. Versus like, I'm sure the other people have been like, because a lot of these guys are kind of already semi-pro,
Right.
you know, so they've been practicing. They know their stage stuff. They know their
Sure.
like PR spiels.
Sure.
They know all these things. They got lined up. They're super talented too, but. You know, this kid was just kind of straight.
Yeah, I think one part that stuck out too was when he sang, what his name, Roman from Kolohe Kai. I don't know what his name from Pakala.
Yeah. Kaua'i.
But to watch him be as surprised as he was, because he wasn't sure, they did contact him and say that he may sing one of your songs, and they needed permission, right?
Yeah.
And when he did, to watch his reaction, that was so beautiful to see. This guy, Ian, can really take a lot of local songs far.
Bro, seriously.
Well, we were talking, you know, his song choice is pretty spot on. I thought he had I think just through the whole competition, he had the best song choice. Like everything he did, like I was like, oh, strategically, whether he planned it or not, it was super good. Like he just picked the right things at the right time that hit the right people. Like, I mean, not gonna lie, like, he kind of had like the judges like eating out of his hand. You know what I mean?
Yes, he did. Boy.
You know, because I mean, he came on with that first song, which is James Blunt. So that's like full, like, like random, right? The least Hawaiian song you could sing.
Yeah.
But like super important, and like like even it was funny because they're like, I don't even think the judges knew what song that was. They're like, because he's like, oh, monsters, and then the judges are like, okay, and then
I thought it was his original. That's just how much I know.
I didn't know that song either. Like, what?
yeah,
I was like, oh, wow, what is this monster?
yeah. So then, and then he sings it, and then he starts singing the words, and then the judges are like bawling, you know,
bawling.
Yeah.
He killed it.
Yeah, that was heavy.
And he had all kinds of different songs. Then he sang like a Lionel Richie song, you know, later, and like had him there.
Reggae.
Yeah, reggae version. Yeah. So it was cool because the kid never really like. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but like he seemed to kind of just like do his thing, right? You know when you're in those situations, you got some producer saying, "Oh, you should sing this song," you should do this, and like, oh, sing this because it's strategically smarter.
But no producer said, "Hey, brother, I think you might want to sing this Kaloika." You know what I mean? That,
Oh, no, yeah.
that was all
Yeah.
him.
That was all him.
100%,
Rah.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. That
Unreal.
was so beautiful.
Oh no! Now that song is going.
Oh no,
Like-
all I hear is Kaloika.
Yeah. Radio,
Everywhere.
like
Right.
on Instagram, like
It's in the top 10
Yeah.
in the nation.
yeah, it like. I mean, it's a good song, but this is like the second coming of it. Like, you're like, whoa, they just like jumped it up again.
Yeah, he's going to be the great ambassador for many musicians here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Sings their songs, and it's just nowadays people don't really care now about if it's like Izzy. He just sang the way he wanted to sing,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about him. And this Ian seems the same, different caliber as far as voice stylings and stuff, different styles, but true to what they do. I think that's both had that same thing. Just this is me. I'm just gonna sing, right? This is how I sing, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and whatever words come out of their mouth, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's angelic or something. It has the I can't even pinpoint it.
Yeah, I know it's kind of weird, like especially if you hear it in person.
Oh, it's-
you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
like it kind of is though. You're like, there's something more to it. I don't know than you think.
I wouldn't be surprised too in the future soon that Jack Johnson and EM does a
Oh, that'd be
concert.
super cool.
That would be major.
Yeah, maybe invite EM to tour with him because he's, I think the beauty to Jack Johnson, since we were talking about him, is not many people know that when he does a concert, he designates the money to nonprofits from the concerts.
That's crazy.
What?
That's kind of crazy.
He doesn't take $1.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's super cool. I mean, I didn't know that.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Damn.
man, that's super awesome. Yeah,
Mhm.
because it's one of those things where you're like, all right. Like, in fact, I was reading. Well, I mean, not reading. I was on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
It's not reading, but but like, so they had this like list of like top concert money. I'm like, oh, that's major money.
Yeah,
Like the amount, like they're like the top 10 people ever brought in concert money. You're like in the billions. So I'm like, oh, even if you're like a normal, like a good guy, and still bringing it, it's still huge.
yeah. He was just that's where the blessings come to him. He's a servant to the community. His whole family, his wife too. And they serve the community in more ways than people know. I mean, he gets down and dirty. He goes into the garden and helps plant at the schools and encourages people to farm. And it's all his platform is all about sustainability. And he's been on that platform for a long, long time. And but it's never it's unending. So sustainability is, even in our history, sustainability was part of who we were always. It was who we were as Hawaiian people. And not only Hawaiians, but anybody that lived on the land and respected the land. The blueprint was sustainability. To respect the land, because the land is going to take care of you. And it's going to feed you. It's going to all of that, all of the above. And Jack Johnson, it's always been there. His house. So I had the privilege of having lunch with him too, right? So we're sitting down and eating lunch, and they eat so healthy. And I wasn't quite there. I like my poi and steak and lau. So when the food came, I'm like, okay. No, this is a true story. But you just be cordial and you just respectful and they feed you just eat. But I've never eaten healthy food. They had like curry veggies.
After,
Yeah, they had all these curry veggies, and it was actually really good. I've never eaten stuff like that. Just right from their backyard.
Wow.
Cool.
the whole lunch came from their backyard, except I believe the chicken. But the whole thing, they grew it.
Wow.
And then he says, you want to see the rest of the house? I go, no, I'm fine right here. I'm okay. He goes, I built this house. I went, you built this house? He go, with recycled wood.
What?
His house is recycled material.
This guy is really about it.
He lives it.
Wow.
Totally lives it. They walk the beach to pick up glass, rusty, whatever that don't belong on the sand and stuff. Him and his children and his wife, they walk the beach. They literally do that. In fact, his Christmas tree was made out of recycled products.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. They made everything from what they found on the beach. Mm-hmm. All their ornaments and stuff. The kids help. It's a family thing. You know, he preaches, he lives it. I was quite amazed, and it's inspired me. In fact, I remember leaving that place, and my wife and I went to the recycled lumber place where he got his lumber just to see what's there.
Yeah.
So it's lumber from like old homes from the 60s or whatever. All these cool, like real 12 by 12 planks. It's not, it's not shorter 12, but it's the way it's supposed to be. But it's amazing how he lives. Mm-hmm. I was just privileged to just talk story and eat with him. They're just very mellow, just sweet, welcoming, and I aloha to them too. Mm-hmm. And they're great supporters of the Voyaging Society.
Mean. That sort of the older planks of that is like the houses that I used to dig under for old bottles then.
Same
like
thing?
Yep.
Mean.
Yeah, they used to use all kind of different wood. And so my grandpa's house, they'd break down like one water tower. And they use the redwood to build the house. Like, redwood is more like mold resistant, water resistant.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's like what his house got built out of. But like even then, like even if it's just the same wood, you'll start to notice like you look at the wood, the rings are smaller, yeah? So it means the tree is older, which means that the thing like is more sturdy. It's stronger wood. Even though it's the same plant, is now they harvest early. And then they have it, and then a lot of times the wood is real wet too. So it has way more shrinkage over time. Versus like the old wood is very like sturdy, solid. They'll hold up much longer. Yeah. Versus the new wood is like, I mean, there's a lot of things because it's newer too. The branches are closer to the middle, so they're more crooked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when you go Home Depot, you're like, oh, not so good.
Yeah. When we went to go look that day, we couldn't even grab nothing.
You're like looking at it, like, cause my uncle's a contractor. So all through high school, we had to like carry wood, and then they'd teach us about this stuff. But like, you're like, oh yeah, this new wood sucks. Like, look at this old wood from this old house, But yeah, so that you learn all about like single wall versus double wall versus all that.
Get the houses by Koloa when you first coming in. You know that one to the right, just in that open field. I'm about to take them walls, brother. Still solid, still standing.
I know. I wonder who owns those, because those is just kind of, you're cruising in the bushes for a long time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it belongs to the people who own the land, the Kanutsins. Yeah, they own that.
They own all those ones on the side.
Because if they wanted to get rid of it, it'll probably end up at the fires down in Kekaha. Or Kekaha.
The fires is a family.
Mike Fire, he restores.
Is that that's not the Waimea Plantation one?
Yeah.
That is, okay.
He restores the old homes from the 20s, 30s.
Wow.
Because that's the cool thing about the plantation.
The integrity is beautiful, his work.
Yeah, if you keep them up, they're solid. And, if you kind of like replace, because, they use whatever kind nails had. So you replace that with like screws or better nails. Like the materials themselves are way more better. Yeah. Right? So that's the thing. And now you add the new.
I believe Mike
Structure.
Fire reuses the nails that came out of the wood.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
Wow.
That's like choke work.
yeah, but I think the integrity of his works it's impeccable. What he does, and
Yeah, it's
he's
super
one of the
nice.
best on Kauai to restore an old house, and so he'll take it off your lot. If you're gonna demolish it, he'll come and get it, and he'll restore it and put it somewhere at Waimea Colleges or something
Oh, I
for
would.
people to experience it.
This is a random question, but what is his? Because his family's like an old family, right?
The Fires were
Yeah.
missionaries also.
Wow.
Okay, because when I went, because Boy Scouts you go and that's the fire like camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So their name is on it. So you're like, oh wait, this is like one of
Sure.
the older families.
Damn.
Yeah.
He might be a good person to
Yeah,
tell
no,
the story with.
Because I sit thinking now, when I used to go bottle hunting, you know you in the zone if you start pulling up square nails.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That old school, you're like, oh, bro, if I find any
That's
glass,
the
it's
era,
going to be ancient.
Oh man, I give those guys credit. Like hand sawing, carrying, like, or even those like way back in, like, up in Kaua'i or way back up in like kind of the west side in the hills, like
Well-
those houses they used to carry wood to. Yeah, that's
Oh,
gnarly.
carry wood to the zone,
Carry
yeah?
wood or like put them on donkeys and bring them in, but like
That's right.
it's not easy. Like I've carried wood, it sucks. Like it's not fun.
I can barely hike with my backpack. You know what I mean? Can you?
Yeah, but they would like lug all that stuff in and build houses in like deep. Like,
Deep. And those are the old that's the real redwood they
Yeah.
use. You know, it's big planks. A lot of the homes there are big, true 12-inch planks.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and solid. I know because we have a cabin up Kokee, and yeah.
There you go.
yeah, those are awesome.
You
Well,
guys
the
go-
wood is it's unbelievable when you measure it. I'm always stoked at that. You go to Home Depot and you measure a
Oh, no,
12-inch
yeah.
wood. It's like 11 inches, right?
Yeah, they're like, even worse. Sometimes it's like, all
10 and a
different.
half.
That's the thing. It's like hard to like do the plans because you're like, oh wait, this one is 1/4 inch off. This one's 1/8 inch off. You're like, this one's 1/2 inch off.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah, so it's kind of a trip. But yeah, old school one, they don't minus the blade. Yeah, they just give you the actuals.
Good.
Yeah.
We like the actuals. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So
Take the actuals.
that's the main thing. But yeah, I mean, what guys used to do and have to do, it's so gnarly. Like, imagine no nail gun, no this, no that. Like, bruh. Even like my uncle guys, they built our house that I live in now in the 80s. But then the roof is super tall. Those frickers had to carry that thing. I was like, you guys is nuts. Like I would never carry that up. You know what I mean?
Bro, the crazy thing is, like, yeah, when I used to go bottle hunting, you just find, like, all kind different stuff. I found up Kaua'i when you're going, like, you just had passed the fork at Kaua'i Middle School, so you're in the
Yeah.
middle, Kapuni, about to drop down to Kulana, past the what? Bro, on the left side, I had old houses my great-grandma told me, so we go check them out. We found one path made out of old Primo bottles stuck in the ground, and it's salt, like it's leveled, it's like compact. And so I was thinking, I said, depending on what kind of bottles this is, I think I just hit $500,000 worth of bottles. But it was just Primos, you know what I mean? But it was cool. I was like,
Yeah,
what? This
yeah.
is crazy what they used to do. How much time Uncle had.
August was poor, huh? So they
You know,
use whatever.
Oh, yeah. You know, funny
Bruh.
thing of bottles, you know, up Kokee on the cabins, everybody dug holes to dump their bottles.
Yeah.
Their soda bottles and whatever bottles. And this is from the late 40s. So you have bottles from that era, you know, from the Waimea Soda Works or whatever, Kaua'i.
Yeah.
whatever.
Kaua'i.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's every cabin has one or two holes of bottles.
Did you guys ever find some on yours?
They're everywhere. The pigs bring them up.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Chucky Boy. No, 'cause-
That's the trick, though. Every time you find a spot, just throw like mac nuts,
Some
food
feed,
down,
huh? Plant some
They'll
mac.
come and
Oh,
dig it up for you. You don't even have
Yeah,
to
they
wait.
dig them up.
brah. Oh yeah, because I mean, their diggings is, you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Depends how big the pig, right?
Yeah.
Because
And so soft the ground up there too. It's always wet.
Yeah. You know, talking about bottles too. You guys never came to our second building, huh? Inside. Did he?
Oh no, we
The village?
the one
The plantation
right?
village? Yeah.
You go outside and then to the left.
You
like,
guys went in there?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
went, we went
Oh,
there
okay.
with the surfing and all that.
Yeah, you saw the bottle collection.
Yes, actually.
Oh, okay.
Right, the bottom part, you go around, look back towards the
Okay. That was half of the collection.
mental.
No,
The other half is, we don't have room.
For real, huh? Oh, I spent some time because I like to read about, you know, whether it's Sokidari or
Right.
you know, all where it was and who.
Whatever company on Kauai,
Yeah.
we have the bottles from whatever company back.
Bruh, I just remember finding some bottles like my auntie found one Kilauea Dairy, one etched, super rare. This guy Bert Morita down at he works at Young Brothers. He writes books about Kauai bottles.
Oh, nice.
But Brada had the quart. What was it like when? Super small. I don't know what the size was or how much it
Pint
held.
or whatever.
Yeah. But it said Kilauea Dairy had the small one, the medium-sized one, and the bigger one. The small one, it says known to exist, not yet found. Hawaiian. What? The first time we ever had go scout down by Kealia. I remember I seen my auntie pluck this thing, but we never knew it was when we first all started. She plucks this thing from the sand, had one big crack in them, and, you know, it said Kilauea Dairy, and I was like, oh, wow, right on. That's on Kilauea. You know, I was
Yeah.
finding some Garden Island sodas, this and that. Bruh, she go down. That guy, Bert,
You went off.
bruh, like the offer, what he offered, I was like, oh my gosh. It was priceless because it was the first one ever found.
Nice.
So pretty mean, bruh. It's just to know that those, for one, that old that place is, that they were doing that, you know?
Yeah.
And then I see old photos of like Kealia and everywhere, really. I'm like, holy crap.
I think they call it Kumu Kumu Camp.
Kumu Kumu Camp, Makete Sugar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I know you're the only person ever to know that about Baptiste Dairy.
Yeah. Well, that one's rare.
Dairy.
Yeah, in Hawaii there was one, and like
So rare.
I heard stories that like my uncles talked about because it was gone before they were born, but like my grandpa or whatever, and like nobody like ever heard of it. And then this guy's like, oh yeah, I know,
Yeah.
get them bottles.
Yeah. Well, even that one, mine one is only the 11th one ever found. That's how short the Baptiste Dairy was in.
Yeah, I guess they wasn't good at business.
Boy, they got hungry. Those cows, they got killed.
The depression came, then the grind.
Yeah. Yeah. It's mean though. So that was in Hawaii.
That was in Hawaii, yeah.
Mean.
From what they tell me, I don't know, but yeah.
You know, I have a friend named Skippy Jensen. And Skippy is a bottle collector for 50 years, but it's in Honolulu.
Mm-hmm.
And so he found where King Kalakaua had his big luau celebration.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he found the spot. Took him several years, but he found the spot. He wished he didn't find the spot
Why?
because bottles kept coming out.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, big party.
It was 10,000 people.
Oh,
Holy. See, that's why I tell Brand all the time because I get guys that dig on Oahu.
Okay.
They go, and if you want new development,
Yeah.
Hawaiian, they just go 3 a.m.
Oh, they all do. And then the construction people, some of them don't like that because,
Yeah.
yeah, they can ruin what they're digging. as
Yeah.
far as blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, they're downtown. They're
back in the
downtown,
morning,
huh?
all hoes.
Yep.
They're in that dirt
Yep.
probing.
For real, you know that. But it's crazy though, like you know, like the fact that he found that spot, because the kind of beverages that they were drinking, the rich guys were drinking. Oh my gosh, that's really where you're gonna find some like, oh wait, so like almost like when Breakthrough kind of like, wait, there was this kind of company or this what is it called, dessert wine? Like I found a dessert wine bottle, and I was like, oh, I looked it up. Something Oporto or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like
Port,
wine.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's like interesting. You know, these guys was whacking some real high end stuff.
Sure.
But that's an interesting thing, right? Because like I mean, we talked about the boat before, yeah.
Oh
but,
yeah.
But these guys had like legit like some of the most expensive stuff in the world, guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the Ha'ahe'o Hawaii. You know, funny how you brought that up. 2 weeks ago, a guy comes to the museum and he says, you got to look at this thing I found. And he said, I looked it up in the encyclopedia, and it's called Ipubaka. And I'm thinking, Ipubaka. I said, okay, Hawaiians would probably say Ipupaka, but maybe you're correct too, because we did have a chief named Moki, so we did use a B.
oh, interesting.
And
Whoa.
can I see the piece? And so we're talking, and we're just talking on the phone, and I said, I'd like to know where you found it and so forth. He said, yeah, when I come, I'll tell you. So he comes. In fact, he came that same day. And I said, wow, this would be cool. Before he showed it to me, if you found it in Hanalei Bay. And then he looks at me, he goes, yeah, that's where I found it. And I said, it would be double cool if you found it in front of Waioli River mouth. And he goes, that's where I found it.
What?
And I went, what? I did the same thing. I went, what? Then I told him the story about the sunken royal yacht, the Ha'ahe'o o Hawaii, that sits there today. And he literally had tears, and he said, this belongs here at the museum. He had no intention of giving the museum. He just wanted to know if we could identify it for him.
Wow.
And so we matched up everything about it, the wood type, and then so it's a pipe. When Captain Cook came, the chiefs wanted to like, what is that? Oh yeah, we want to smoke too. Whatever that is, we want to try that, brother.
Yeah.
We're not gonna let you go back on the boat.
Yeah. Give me some of that.
Yeah. But only the chiefs would smoke. They would take a hit, pass it. Anyway, and in the history, it was Captain Cook that inspired the Hawaiians to smoke pipes. And the one that this guy found is one that came from Captain Cook, that same era, and but the amazing thing was not sure. The people from Smithsonian don't watch this podcast, right? They'll be nuts if we never.
Oh, bro, next thing you know, ratings through the roof, Chucky Boy.
Yeah, but anyway, we believe it is from the yacht because on the top there's like a brass thing for the tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same type of brass that came off the yacht. We matched it all up, everything. And so when you read the history, it says the Hawaiians, when Captain Cook came, would smoke this, and they have a little picture of it. And the one that we got,
Oh my gosh,
looks like the picture in the book. It's like creepy.
that's heavy.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So we're about 90% sure it's from the yacht, from the sunken ship.
Can people see that yet, or is it on display? Not yet.
Not yet. But
Okay.
we just got you mounting it. So we had to mount it, put it in a glass case. Now it's about ready.
Okay.
But I have to. We deal with facts, right? So I can't really say it's 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But all the stars line up in this one.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean,
It's
the
really
fact that
cool.
You still find stuff
No,
like to
you
this day.
Our historians, when they go to places to share stories about the sunken ship, we have a group of 3 Hawaiians. That's all they talk about. The connection to Kamehameha II and Kaua'i, our king, right? What's the connection? And because we have all the artifact from his Kamehameha's yacht that sank in Hanalei Bay. And when they come back, when they go out to tell the stories to the schools and the kids, the senior centers, their closing line is always this. Don't forget, you never know, when you're walking on the beach, you might find an artifact from the Ha'ahe'o o Hawaii. So that's their closing line. And it's like, so it's kind of creepy. It's spooky, right, to them. They're like, "Oh, Chucky, this is unbelievable." I go, "So we send it to the Smithsonian and wait 3 years so they can, identify it and study it, all of that stuff. It takes years.
Yeah.
Carbon copy it and blah, 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 date it, carbon date it, and so forth." We looked at each other like, no. That's why I'm asking you, are they listening? Are they watching this?
No, we do it. We by blocking them.
Oh, shucks. You know what? They would hang me good scolding. Oh. I already got in big trouble with them.
How come?
Because when
Story,
yeah, that's a good story, right? Of course. I told you on the podcast that story?
Yeah.
Okay, we did it.
No.
I blew the conch shell when we opened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I can't say what my thoughts was
Yeah.
at that moment. Anyway, so to the audience out there, I got in big trouble blowing a conch shell that came off the yacht. I wasn't supposed to do that. I'm being very nice.
He's on killer.
Well, on the other end, they're not listening, right? So on the other end, as a Hawaiian, I wanted to blow that guy. So
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That conch shell was probably telling you. Hawaiian.
it was calling me.
Yeah.
It really does work because it's so small.
Yeah. See, that's crazy. See, and if I seen that pipe, might have to see if the thing worked too. Nah, just joking.
That's why we got it sealed up now. Guys like you, brother, we can test it.
Yeah. See what this copper is all about.
Yeah, so it's core and brass.
And is in good, like decently good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. But it's over time. This is the 1800s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over time, it deteriorated, but it's still there. It's core wood, and the whole thing is there. The pipe is intact.
It's crazy that. Okay, like even if the ship is like that close to shore, like holy crap, that the tides and the currents and the waves and winds and everything and bring them up to shore like that.
Well, the guy always says he walks every day on what he calls the shell line. I guess the terminology they use. Like you bottle hunters, you guys go look for whatever.
Ross Lair. You know
Okay, these guys go to the shell line.
Yeah.
And he walks it, and he was stoked he saw it.
Interesting, because that could have, like the shell line, like that could have been there for who knows how long, honestly, and then it just pulls back X. You know,
I think so. Because it's just like how much stuff is covered in the sand. And
Right.
How often does it get that much washed away?
And the chances are when the Smithsonian came on their expedition in 1995, I think guaranteed they didn't get everything, especially something this size.
Yeah.
Right. So, we tell the kids and stuff, keep your eyes open. You never know what you're going to find. So that's not the first time something was found. Last year, a piece of the yacht came, a wood broke. Because, there's this worms or what they call ocean, whatever it's called. That eats the wood. So that's why they didn't bring the yacht up. Because it was too weak, too fragile. 1800, that's a lot of years. And so over time, the best decision was to keep it there, leave it in place. But over time, pieces of, after like big surf or whatever, the water churns, boom, and pieces come up. And
especially
a lot
there because it's big.
Yeah.
Big,
and it's shallow.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
So it now people are going to understand. Now, if we get a piece of wood from the ocean that may came from an old ship, it probably is from the Ha'a'i, especially that area by Wai'oli River mouth area. And we tell people that we're not hiding it from anyone that it lays there.
No, because we've gone out and been like, oh, I think it's over there.
Yeah.
We've gone out there, we're like, I think it's kind of there.
Oh, okay. So your next helicopter ride, exactly 100 yards out from the river mouth.
Okay, which is not that far because I've surfed over there.
But it has to be after a day of like pounding waves.
Clears out
And
the sand.
once it starts to mellow out,
Bruh.
and it's clear, and if you're on that helicopter, some pilots said they've seen, but they weren't sure.
Wow.
Hey, Chucky, we think we saw that yacht.
Unreal, bro.
So I think it's a neat thing.
Super sick.
Super cool, yeah.
Super sick. I'm gonna be, bro. I see so itchy. I go walk the beach right now. You know what I mean?
Well, now people are going to be more mindful when they're walking there to look down in that one particular area more so than any of
Yeah.
other parts of the beach.
For all you guys listening right now, you guys find anything, you guys know what to do. You come over here and leave, or you drop them off at the warehouse. Now you better hit up Chucky Boy at the Kaua'i Museum.
So there's a big podcast, and they had these guys from Alaska. And on their property, they have the permafrost, right? The big ice.
Right.
And it's melting, so they're getting all these fossils out. And I guess for like, they've been getting fossils out of this place, so they bought it like, whatever, a decade ago. But before that, the previous owner, the Natural History Museum in New York, would take all the fossils and document them. But I guess what happens is they ran out of space. So they ended up just started dumping in the East River. And this guy went on the podcast, told everybody, like, they just dump them. This was probably 40s, 50s. So, like, a long time ago, so they didn't know. And then they just dump it. So, in the East River, there's all these, like, woolly mammoth tusks.
Sure.
And then after the podcast, all these guys went diving, and they're finding them.
Bruh.
So now, hopefully, after this, people go and they see it, and they, like,
okay, so caution. Let's leave that yacht in place just out of respect.
I bring them to the museum.
But if anything comes up, bring it to the museum.
If you find them on the shore.
Yeah. Oh, because this guy had no intention, like I said, to really give us until he found out the backstory or the magnitude of this piece. Like, oh, wow, it belongs at the museum because we already have artifact from the yacht.
For all you sunrise shell hunters out there, don't be getting no wild ideas, okay?
In fact, I think that's what he was on Sunshine.
I probably know that guy then.
Is that your Facebook?
Yeah, we get one group on Facebook, Sunrise Shell Hunters.
Oh, so now they're gonna be the Ha'ahe or Hawaii hunters.
Yeah, we're gonna protect that thing.
Oh yeah, just out of respect. I think
for sure.
It's in a great place. I mean, shucks, even though it was the yacht that kidnapped our king, but it belongs there.
Water under the bridge.
Water under the bridge. Yeah. Well, anyway, so I just, I think this was great today. But the topic with Jack Johnson, there was a privilege to share some stories about him because he is the real deal, just like Ian. But the reason why this was all brought up is because, the Hokulea is starting their second voyage, Moana Nui Akea, to sail the Americas around, it's to complete the world.
Yeah. So what is their route on their second leg?
Well, I was going to bring the route to you guys, but I thought I wasn't sure. Shucks.
Oh, no, that's fine.
No, but they can bring it up. They can go online and see it. It's like everywhere.
Is there a website that we can direct people to?
Yeah, Polynesian Voyaging Society.
Okay.
Well, in fact, just Google Hokulea.
Yeah.
And you'll probably see the map.
Okay.
It's popping up already.
Can you give a brief, quick synopsis of the Hokulea and so when did they restart? When did they because
that's a great story in itself.
Yeah. Because I know when I was a kid, that's kind of when they
1976 is when they sailed, and they sailed out of Kualoa by Chinaman's Hat and on Oahu, and there was a time where, while it was going on to recreate, to honor the traditions of navigation, our seafarers, not many people were on board at the time. There was a lot, but there were skeptics also that did Hawaiians really sail without navigational pieces? I mean, like a compass or so forth and so forth. No, we relied on the ocean. We relied on the clouds and stars and birds and so forth. Um, it goes back to living with nature, right? We understand each other, and we understand how nature is the boss. Everybody knows that, you know. But 1976, even though I was no part of the canoe, the Hawaii itself, we were there endorsing it through music, right? And, you know, Roland Casimiro and this guy Mike Kaava and so forth, Kelly Ito and so forth. They put together a group called Hokulea. And the music is really beautiful. It's pretty timeless because it's contemporary Hawaiian. It's not very traditional, but it was the Renaissance. It was the Renaissance music time. I mean, this Hawaiian people started to wake up and love Hawaiian music, and it's like, whoa, what is this? You know, this is just another form of Hawaiian music. We have many, right? But Hokulea, thanks to the collaboration of Kelly Itawa writing the lyrics and then Roland Casimiro and Mike Kaava doing the music, it was hard to top because they're very creative and, you know, and in fact, talking about Roland, this is just a side story. I got to bring that up. The museum is getting his double neck guitar, koa guitar.
That's cool.
That was built by, made by a gentleman, Sussman, Mickey Sussman from Anahola.
Wow.
The wood came from Anahola. Yeah, so it's coming home. Roland has passed away, and the wife decided, she called and says, Chucky, we'd like to give you the guitar for the museum. I said, perfect. Perfect, you know. It's another way of telling stories and to honor a luthier, I guess is what you call stringed instruments, the people that make it. I guess so, I don't know. It's a great way to honor Anahola, you know, right? And,
wow.
So his double neck guitar is coming home, and it's
Sick.
like it's really sick news and exciting because it'll enhance our new exhibit, our Kumuhula / music exhibit that's soon to be open to the public. It's a permanent exhibit to honor all the Kaua'i composers / Kumuhula or teachers.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got to get you that first Hawaiian building. That way, we can put out everything.
Yeah.
You know, funny, I had a meeting with one of the, he may have been the executive director or CEO, executive director possibly for Weinberg Foundation, who owns all of
Alihui.
Wow.
Alihui, right? And so about a month ago, I was at a gathering with him. I said, come on. Shout out to Kamoa Kalama, Corbett Kalama. And I said, come on. We really want First Hawaiian Bank, Lihue, because our museum is too small. And, you know, small island, we heard that you guys are they're gonna move out First Hawaiian Bank and build a new bank. Since you guys own so many buildings, maybe just give us, because it's not giving us, you're giving Kauai, you're giving the community the building, and we will maintain. And now that we need more room to tell the stories, there's so much more stories to share to our community and beyond, to our visitors. And it'll be perfect because it's right across the street. And the vision to Rice Street really is to make it a walking town.
100%.
And if that happens, that really helps the vision.
Yeah.
You know, for a walking town. Oh, so, and then he says to me, the timing of it may be good.
Nice.
It's what he said to me. So I will hold him to it. Because he said this to me. He says, we will hold him. You're right.
Yeah.
And he says to me, Chucky, I will be the voice. Thank you, come on.
Nice.
You know, sometimes, you know, in life, if you don't ask, you don't get.
100%.
It's yes or no.
Yeah.
But this is really, it's really worth it to go find the key person to at least give us a chance. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you so much.
No, like we want it. Like
Yeah.
they own this building.
Hi.
Yeah, they own this
They
building.
own this building?
Yeah.
Oh,
The whole thing.
They own everything on this street.
Wow.
Yeah.
Once you start to try to rent buildings, you realize who owns what.
Bruh.
And then you're like, oh, they own it all.
Oh, they should give it to us. The First Hawaiian Bank.
For sure.
It's not as big as this building. A building.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, they're because they're also selling off some stuff now.
Oh, okay. But we're gonna keep mentioning this because it's for the good of Kauai. It's
Oh,
really good.
1,000%.
Well, mine, you guys have so much cool stuff that you just don't have room to put out.
We don't have room.
You know, and that's the thing. It's not because you guys don't want to. It's because
There's no
in that
space.
building. Yeah.
And even our archives, I mean, shucks. First Hawaiian Bank upstairs alone would be the perfect spot for our archives. And then we would allow people to come
Yeah.
and go ahead. And that's yours. Yeah, it's a great resource
Oh,
for history.
I would be in there.
Bottle history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Tax
that's the thing,
maps.
is
Oh,
you have so much like different
Rah.
like periods of time.
Right.
Like one thing
Right.
I used to live in New York. One thing that was cool about there was the museums.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
like you can go into National History Museum and spend like weeks.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's
Oh.
because even when we went to yours, we were there for hours.
Hours.
Like we're like looking at maps. We're like, where is this? We're looking at bottles. We're looking at beds, wood. Like we're like,
Sure.
how did they make that?
And we have core beds
Yeah,
stored away.
So we're just looking at all this stuff, and we're like, oh, that's
Core
pretty sick.
beds.
Our core
stored away.
beds is from the 1820s.
Holy
That's crazy.
crap.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
But we can't put it out. Ah,
Damn. See, we
Yeah.
need that building. We
Yeah,
got.
we have
gotta get you
two
guys
of
in that
them.
building.
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah. So we want that because I think it's just same thing like this podcast, right? It's like how do you share the information? How do you share the thing? And the more people that get that knowledge, the better.
Well,
More full picture of like how things are and was.
I think anyone that loves museums, or in this case, Kaua'i Museum, I think people like you really, you guys are bridge. Everyone that comes to the museum helps build bridges, right? And yours is at another level of bridge building for the museum or being the ambassadors, right? It's and to say we're grateful is an understatement. It's beyond grateful. Anything to tell stories of the museum, to tell stories of Kauai and Ni'ihau is like grateful beyond. I mean, we can't thank you enough.
Well, I mean, we're just stoked you're there because there's all this info that we don't know, you know? So that's why we're, like, so excited about this, like, segment and then also going to the museum. Like, every time we go, we're, like, a new thing pops up where you're like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we do have a lot of really wonderful stories, and it's an honor to share, but it needs to be told.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're there for a reason. It's our kuleana. It's our responsibility to really let the people know that we're a great resource, but at the same time, we're just running out of room because all of a sudden we're just starting to grow leaps and bounds and I'm sure you're a big part of it because there are days when we have to shut the door and wait. You guys have to wait to come in. There are many days like that.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
means you're busy. Yeah.
Oh, the line is out sidewalk. It's like wow,
Mm-hmm.
So and we're grateful to people like you and even our airline industry that when they do stories on us in their in-flight magazine, that stuff like that really helps.
Yeah.
As a nonprofit, right, where some people, I'm not ashamed to say we were beggars, because we need help from the community.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not ashamed to ask. I always say that we ask, and so thanks. I appreciate that mentioning of the First Hawaiian Bank
Oh, yeah.
because
No.
we really want it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I want you guys to get it.
I told you that we were this close,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To getting the post office.
The post office, which would have been cool.
Oh, brother.
This close. But the federal government was the one that changed their mind.
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't know what they were going to do.
Yeah.
Would have been perfect for the museum
Yeah.
to have a living Mayberry RFD type of post office.
Yeah, man. You get First
Little
Hawaiian,
hole in the wall.
You get Bank of Hawaii.
Yeah.
Maybe they still move the post office. Get that whole zone.
Yep.
Yep.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Because it would be a community place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's cool when you can do that, and then like now you have more room, so you can do like guided tours and like make revenue that way. That helps like build
Sure.
everything, like just to create like a really sustainable infrastructure. You know,
Sure.
'cause you guys have so much stuff, it's just not able to like show it off.
Yeah. You're right.
And then now that like
Because we have more artifact from, the sunken ship, the yacht. It's like we have to consolidate the crates. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 crates bigger than this table.
No,
Yes.
you guys
Of artifact.
see, and they still coming up. That's the, and they're not pow yet. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, they're still
Yeah.
Wow.
We have no room to share the rest of the artifact.
I want to step into a room with just all those artifacts displayed.
But yeah, you put those out, and then you guys are like, you guys have a team like on the cutting edge doing the AR VR stuff. So that stuff was super
yeah.
cool. So I was like,
Yeah,
We-
Kaua'i
we-
Dev.
yeah, we've got to see their stuff, and we're like, oh, it's sick. Like, it's just
Yeah.
different levels, different things, and it's just a different like multi-tooled way of showing all the history, all Kauai, all the Hawaiian stuff.
I think we need to, be really open-minded and to be acceptable to educational tools that's available. And though I'm not a tech, like the team from Kauai Dev, Keone Nani, shout out to you guys. It's so cutting edge. It's just mind blowing to see the development, and Chucky just tell us a story about this person, and then they bring it to life. It's like, oh,
No, it's cool, and mind you, it is on like the cutting edge, like world-class level cutting edge, meaning like
it is.
the guy. There's no but like the stuff they're doing is like the leading guys in the world are on that same like race right now. So that's the cool thing too. This is not like second rate or like somebody else has done it. This is like could be like one of the first in the country. Like
Yeah, so that's why I said, my email blew up when I came in this morning because they had a big story on that in our Hawaiian newspaper, actually, but you just never know who reads it.
Mhm.
And it's worldwide distribution. And so some of the people that sent comments on it was I'm not going to even mention their names, but it's like who's who in Hawaii and beyond that saw it.
yeah.
I mean,
And that the most important thing is to use the tools we have to help educate our kids.
mm-hmm.
No,
That is the
100%.
total bottom line to this. And grateful for the opportunity to work with these guys. And, and grateful to Kamawai Lualani, too. That's Nikki Cristobal. That's a big part of this team, too, because of her her gift of writing, the stories. I share a story and boom, she puts it down on paper like, it sounds like it came from an author.
Nice. Nice.
Right? So,
That's awesome.
and then these guys, Keone and Nut, they put it on, they create the characters like.
Heavy.
And I know people out there that understand, AR and so forth, and it's for me, it's like, don't ask me any other question besides that. But I just know it's just like we use the word cutting edge. It's cutting. I live cutting edge. I'll personally, we'll take our chances, but like it's education. It's to help.
No,
Telling
100%.
a story in a whole nother way.
Well, in a whole nother way. And then something interesting about it too is now that like bridges like physical stuff out, like meaning somebody can be in Antarctica and like have that same experience and that same education
Sure.
You know, and then hopefully that causes them to like one day if they do come to Kauai, like just really like go in and experience it too.
Like I want to be like to be able to walk through a canopy or like a native Hawaiian forest with just native plants and what it was like before.
Because I mean, we talk
crazy.
about that, right? We look at old pictures and we're like, it doesn't look like how it looks now because you know
Right.
more like guavas and halikoa and like all these like things
Right,
that
all the invasives.
yeah, they got
Yeah.
real thick, right? Like
Yeah.
you
Right.
look and you're like, oh, it's kind of like really grassy and open and blah blah blah, and you're like, now it's super different looking, even though it's the same mountain, same place. You're like, oh, this is from 1870, and you're like, oh,
You know, funny, I read a story of one of our botanists that went hiking, and this is in 1930 something. But they're telling about the hike. They hiked from this side, the east side of Kaua'i. They hiked straight up Wai'ale'ale, the highest point, to Alaka'i Swamp.
Oh,
Straight up, and I'm like, how is that possible? So I talked to Chipper Wickman when he was at NTBG, National Tropical Botanical Garden. He says, Chucky, what you forgot was before they had Howbush going right all the way up. So all they did was
climb up. Interesting.
that was their nature's ladder.
that's crazy.
So that was something we were there.
In your second
In
building,
the second building, and there's a map with all
Bruh.
like these like trails.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait, where's that? How did they get? Like, they went up Hanapepe Valley. They went up this valley, and you're like, wait, I've kind of been
Impossible.
Back there.
Yeah.
How do you get up there? That's
Right.
crazy.
Right, and they use all the old original names of some of these places. So you have to try and figure out where is this, or like they would come across the lapa lapa. Like, do you know what lapa lapa is?
Nope.
Oh, okay. The leaves are like huge, big elephant ears.
Okay.
But they would use that to hide from the rain.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, they would make makeshift shacks
Yeah.
with whatever's around them. That was their roof
Mm.
because it was big. They didn't
Yeah.
have to get a lot. And so you're like, but we don't see these plants,
Yeah.
on a normal hike.
Yeah.
Right? But you want to go see, where's this lapa lapa? But these guys, the lapa lapa was everywhere as they were climbing up.
Huh.
They got up there like probably in about 6-7 hours. They made it to the top. That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Brother,
It's crazy.
that's high.
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's a lot
bruh,
of like
when
fun.
you're-
Yeah, we make it to the top. It's almost dark, but we made it.
oh, bruh, that's crazy. For those of you who know, like, where we're talking about and stuff like that, because
Yeah, it's gnarly.
that's gnarly.
Yeah,
I mean, and there's a bunch of that kind
neat
of stuff.
story.
Yeah? Like, my dad used to tell me stories that his mom used to tell him because they're from like North Shore, like Wai'Ni area, and they're like, "Oh, we used to go through the lava tubes and climb to the top." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like,
oh, that sounds like
you
Fern
know,
Grotto.
but like the by
There's
like
a tube there.
Oh,
by
nice.
like the wet cave,
Yeah.
drive cave area. I
Oh
guess.
yeah, okay,
They're like-
you can climb out.
Yeah, there's some stuff they would climb to the top through the tubes, and I was like, really? And maybe it's still there, but I never heard anybody doing it now. You know,
I don't want to open a can of worms.
Yeah.
Don't do the Fern Grotto one.
Yeah.
Only because it gets really treacherous.
yeah.
It might be covered by now inside the tube.
Huh.
So I mean,
Small,
Mm.
barely fit.
I couldn't handle.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
I would
You,
get scared.
you get a phobia, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
No,
100%.
100%. Just talking about it, I see it all the
Yeah.
time.
Like-
No,
I never been in wet cave. I never even been in wet cave.
yeah.
I'm not going to jump in there.
No, exactly.
I'm good on that. Yeah. The tea leaf.
But you know,
Watch
what's another
out.
interesting one. One of our first guests was my friend Kanoa Chung, and he's like an architect. But he went to Kamehameha, but he's super into like just old school Hawaiian. I mean, he was actually the first guy who gave me this book, like Hawaiian Planters. And that, because I was into food, right? I was in New York cooking. And like, so it was kind of this like way I'd read the book and like figure out like, just the systems, right? And like the purposefulness behind everything. But he's super into like peely grass. And so he goes into like peely grass and like, well, the freaking buffalo grass came and this happened. And like, this is how they used to make all their roofs and all this. Like, he just gets super into
Did
it.
it to point out where they grew in abundance?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now it's like being just
Yeah.
wiped out by
Exactly.
the invasives.
Exactly. So he's like, oh yeah, it used to be everywhere. Now it's like harder to find. There's like splotches here and there.
Yeah,
but it's
on the
not.
way up to the Fern Grotto, yeah, on the right hand side where people that look out above, the people go, that whole area was just peely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Up on the top.
No, the whole wall.
Oh, the wall.
The wall of the hill. Yeah, it was all peely.
Huh.
From the bottom of the river right onto the top.
That is,
Right.
that's unreal.
So
bro.
even in that aspect, like everything's just changed, right? Even though it's still whatever nature, it's still like a whole different like ecosystem in some
In
sense.
fact, that's a good topic too. Peely people when they come to the museum, they ask about what is the grass shack made of? What does it look like? And so I said, okay, we'll take you outside to the front of our garden, and you can see the peely grass growing. They go, "Are you serious?" I go, "Yeah." And I'll have you touch it, and we're on this new wave of everybody pivoted on this way of sharing stories with our visitors. It's not sun, surf, and blah 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 anymore, and nightlife. It's come and learn how to respect.
Mm-hmm.
You learn the way the Hawaiians respected the place. I mean, that's what we do now. And so we literally take them to see and touch and feel like the Pili,
Yeah.
and people like that even more so now. So our museum has seen a change in the demographics of people. It's the days of only our parents and grandparents in museum. That's out the window. It's everybody now.
Yes.
Kids are encouraging even locally. Saturdays is still free. I think by the end of the year we're going to stop it, but because we have to for Kaua'i, but it's the kids that encourage the parents to come and see the museum. They don't want to come. They want to just drop the kids off and we can babysit them for a couple of hours or whatever. They'll leave them, but now they come in and it's like, oh wow.
Yeah.
It's a whole different attitude now. But it's the kids that are being the voice for the museum more than anything else. We've seen the changes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, even locally, never stepped into the museum.
No, 100%. I mean, I think we told you I've been there before,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like common, So and even when we went in the time when we talked to you,
Right.
it was all different than when I had gone in. Because
Sure.
I might have gone in through a field trip or something.
Sure.
Like back in the day, So it's one of those things where you're like, growing up here, you don't even necessarily go.
Yeah, it's not even on your list.
Yeah.
But like you go in and then you realize
Doesn't
there's all these
exist.
things you
Yeah.
don't know. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh wait, this is pretty cool.
Well, I think each moku, each island should have, the museum. It's got to be at that place to tell your story because people are interested. The kids are interested more so now. Because they want to know who their leaders were back in the day. Back in the 1700s, 1600s, whenever. What was life like? They're more interested now because it really, the platform of sustainability is huge. It's huge. People are more interested in the way of life back then, and it's a benefit for us. It is. People really want to know the backstories and so forth, and that's why the demographics has changed. To see younger parents coming in and wanting to learn. And we just had a girls' baseball, softball team that came through 2 weeks ago, and they were headed to play in California or whatever, a bunch of all-star kids, girls, 12 years old. You would think they would fold their hands like, oh, I don't want to be here. But they're genuinely interested to learn stories and of what really took place, and even like sports. I mean, next time, another time we'll talk about makahiki and so forth. Those kind of questions, surfing questions, or just eating food questions. So And then you see the parents get engaged. It's like, oh, this is good. This is beautiful. But if it wasn't for the kids, they wouldn't come.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's changing over time. Yes, it's many small steps, but many small steps take you up to the top of the mountain, like the stairway.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right?
100%.
So, but we'll get there to make sure. And it really instills pride into our local community. The beauty of Kaua'i, the many treasured stories we have, the history and so forth. But, to each his own. But most times people come and they're like, that's the one thing they say, wow, we've never been here. Everybody says that. Like,
because it's dead center, right in the middle, like of driving everywhere, and then you kind of pass it a bunch, and it's like, it's a nice old building, but then you just never like stop. You never like think to stop.
Yeah, it's kind of a spooky old building sometimes. Like, well, by the way, that said, I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you.
I gotta go back to the spooky building.
Yeah. Thank you for hopping on.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was fun, and okay.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, again, mahalos for tuning in to another episode of How's This Podcast. If you guys are in the area or are visiting Kaua'i, you guys be sure to check out the Kaua'i Museum. Give brother Chucky Boy Chock a visit. And yeah, guys, till the next time. All right. Mahalo, Chucky Boy, for coming, for real.
Mahalo nui, aloha.
Yep. Aloha.
Hey.
Yeah.
Right on. I mean, I hope we got enough meat there.
Yeah, no, it's tons. That's the thing. Is like a lot of it's just people want to hear it. Yeah, they want the story. They want the banter. They want.
I didn't even say that David Kahiapo was the carpenter that helped build Kain's house. Jack's house.
Oh, yeah.